welcome to episode 125. That is 125. I would say that it would be close to like 100 people that are new, like 100 fresh guests that have been on this podcast. 25 of them maybe repeats. I'm being generous there, right, Matt? I would say 10. So I've had 115 different people on this podcast. What? You being the 116th. Yeah, just talking shit because we've had triple appearances. Anyway, this podcast is brought to you by Curology, Upstart, and I'll tell you a little bit more about them later on in the podcast. But today we have the Movement King, okay? And you play on a controller?
Yes, sir.
We have JoeWo, Joseph Wohala, 24 years old, out of North Carolina, standing 6 feet, 2 inches tall. Am I accurate on that?
Well, it's kind of like a joke, like throughout like the stream, and like that I'm like 5'3", so we'll.
What is it about streamers and their inability to tell their actual height?
Because people, for some reason, people don't believe me as I say I'm tall. Like that, like if they don't look like, they just don't believe me, so they always just made jokes that I'm like 5'3", so we'll say 6'2".
6'2".
Generous, you know.
But what is your actual height?
6'3".
6'3".
Yep.
Oh my God! So I had you pegged right. That's good. And I'm glad that people are still continuing the tradition of not believing. Like they do the same thing with my weight. You know what I mean? Like I am an athletically gifted.
That's what I'm saying.
And here they are.
I saw
calling
you
me fat.
Outside jump and dunk like 3 or 4 times, like just for fun.
See,
I
now
saw
you're
you
making
outside.
shit up. I've never done. I can hang. I can hang from the rim, and I did that once in high school. But as far as dunking, I don't have that athletic ability. But I will cross your ass over and fucking drop.
Hey, listen,
I
played basketball my whole life. So
same.
Hey, you know
even in my
saying?
condition, I've seen you.
A little bit, you know.
Just know. You know what I mean? Even in my condition, I can still, I can tell I'm better than Nate shot. You know what I mean?
That's all that matters. Yeah.
You know what's crazy to me? People that, and I guess this is a common thing, but like Dashy loves basketball. Mm-hmm. He loves basketball so much that he sits there and watches videos about highlights and culture and podcasts surrounding like basketball players, but he never plays basketball. He's never played basketball.
It's probably come to like now, like I played basketball like my entire life, travel basketball until college, where I think it comes to a point that like with like him, like COD, streaming, like things like that, it just like comes to like it's hard to still like go play like every day. Like I played every single day, but now like I just can't. But like seeing and being in that, like still seeing those videos, those games, the like top plays, like it's still so cool to just be in that scene, even though that you can't play. Because I'm the same way that like I don't play. I would love to play, but like I'm out of shape now. It's been a long time, but I still like love seeing the highlights, the best like teams, the best players, the best like recruits, like that stuff. Like it's so cool.
I started to get back into basketball about 2 years ago. The second that Jordan retired, I'm like, why watch? What's there to watch, right? So I would keep up, right? I saw the Derrick Roses play. I saw the Kyrie Irvings. So I did keep up, but I wasn't as passionate about it as it was when Jordan was playing, right? And you know, obviously in those days in age where it's call it the early 90s where internet doesn't fucking exist, like that is the only thing that you know, right? Like my days were filled with just playing ball. My friend Eric, Carlos, my boy Angel, like we had a squad. It was us 4+1.
That's
you know what I mean?
Yep.
Mount Prospect got shit on. Fucking Palatine got shit on. Buffalo Grove got shit on.
That's the best feeling.
Des Plaines got shit on. Like everybody got shit on.
That's like where my like comp now and like being like so like from like playing basketball like my whole life, being like competitive came from that. So like now it's like even in COD and just like streaming, like I am always like trying to be the best at anything I do because like that's where it sparked from, just playing basketball like forever.
Yeah, well, I like every sport. I like playing every sport, but basketball is the one that has always captured my imagination. My dad played soccer growing up, right?
Really?
And yeah. So, him growing up and throughout me growing up, he played soccer, and you know he thought that I would play ball or something, but it was all about basketball for me. Especially when we moved to the United States, it was all about basketball from the second that I got here till I started working in corporate America, where like it sort of stopped. So tell me, where does your story begin? Who are you today? Let's start there.
Who am I today? Full-time streamer, content creator. Trying to be doing more than just like streaming and stuff. Obviously, you saw a little bit of vlogging here and there, but basically, I'm late to the streaming gaming scene. I said some. I basically started off in school, playing sports, playing ball, college, and then kind of throughout college, probably about my freshman, sophomore year, I kind of saw that the whole like partying scene, all that kind of stuff just wasn't for like me, to be honest. And if I didn't do that, I was like, what do I do? So I was like, started gaming kind of as like a hobby for fun.
Mm-hmm.
And
wait, when did you start gaming?
Black Ops 4.
Okay, so okay.
And I basically like the first COD I like played was Black Ops 4 Blackout. And that game was like hands down, like that game was so fire. Even now, it's like that game was one of the best, I think, CODs of all time. I mean, mind you, I have very, very little experience in a lot of CODs, but Black Ops 4 Blackout was like caught like my eye. I saw like formal, and that's when like I like started seeing streamers and like players and like orgs and all that kind of stuff, and that's kind of what sparked like streaming for me. And I started playing Blackout, and I was like, I'm kind of good at this. Like, I don't know, I'll just try it. And then had a job at a law firm my sophomore year because I was planning on that. And then saved up, and I was like, I'm gonna get some streaming equipment and just try it because I didn't have anything else to do besides play basketball. I was like, why not? And everybody else on a Friday night were going out Saturday night, and I was just sitting. I was like, I'll start streaming, try to play, right?
Yeah.
And
so you didn't go out at all?
I did a little bit,
okay.
and
I was gonna say, Joe, there's
no. I definitely
there's
did.
more to video games.
No.
You know what I mean?
I definitely did, but I just kind of was like, I don't know, just wasn't really for me a ton. And then throughout my like job experience and stuff, I just got saved up, got a setup, my first setup, and then from then on, it's been a grind.
Mm-hmm. So what was your early life like? You know, where did you grow up? Like that's, I mean, we'll talk about you actually graduating from the University of North Carolina. Like, fuck, you know who else graduated from the University of North Carolina?
Well, it is Wilmington, which is like a second. It's but
okay.
This, I don't want to cause any beef, but the second greatest player of all time did graduate from there, so it's pretty cool.
Who? You don't believe that?
We can say the second greatest player, you know what I'm saying?
You can say that. I cannot say that.
Yeah.
I live in a world of realities, facts, and truths, and fuck you're living in. So, all right, so you grew up in North Carolina. What was that like? Hitch was always there. Did you guys go to the same school?
No. So he's imagine he's about 2.5 hours from my town now, but basically super small town. I'm actually from Cleveland, so I was born and raised there, and then moved from Ohio in second grade to North Carolina, and then stayed there since then. Went to college, kind of the start. From a kid, played a ton of sports. Like I said, basketball was like my go-to thing for a long time, and played sports. And then in college, I was like, I can't like play for a college, like not that good. So I was like, what do I do? Started gaming, and
well, when did gaming become like an option to you? Like when did you see that, like, you know what, I could probably do this, and then jumping to do it? Like when did that happen?
That was probably, so I started playing like my sophomore year, junior year, and streaming and stuff, and that's when Blackout was like the game, and then towards the end of Blackout, we had rumors of Modern Warfare and Warzone. So at that point, I was graduating college, COVID and all that hit, and I was planning, which is kind of crazy, not even look back with our current things now, is I was planning on grad school, where I got into a dual master's degree program in finance, where I would have spent 2 years in Russia, which is crazy.
Okay. Whoa. Time out. And I'm not pausing you there because you said Russia and it's a hot topic right now. Don't tap the table when you're.
Oh, okay.
It's all good. But you know, I didn't stop you at Russia because of, you know, it's a topic right now. But what did you major in? Where'd you get your bachelor's in?
Finance.
Yep. And then after that, you were gonna go do
dual master's degree program in Russia for finance and I think econ.
Okay, so why would they send you to Russia for economics? And
it was basically a like traveling program where I could just like go there, study there, and still get a dual program from my college and I think it was like the Russian presidential school or something, and just kind of see different like vibes being there and just kind of get a traveling experience too.
Man, that's cool. Look, anything involving traveling and seeing other countries, like I'm a big fan of.
Yeah.
I think that's beneficial to any growing person.
Yeah.
Right, seeing the world outside of their bubble, I think is mega important. Like even if it's as far as like going to a different state, that's like a big change.
100%.
There was a very long time in high school because we started camping when we were in 1996, 97. So you can imagine that the United States back then wasn't, traditionally what it is today, right? And it was me, like 2 black dudes, a Polish dude, a couple of white guys, a bunch of Mexicans that went camp, one Indian dude, shout out Jig. We used to convoy in our cars like south.
That's
right?
so. That had to be. I bet you had the best time. Like
we
even
did,
now,
but,
the best time
people just didn't know what the fuck to. You know what I mean? Like people who hadn't, that have different rules. They knew that we were from out of town, so they weren't as mean to us as they probably were to the local, minorities. But we kept on driving, and we got to this one fucking gas station that had Confederate flags everywhere, and it was like, and to you it's probably normal, right? From North Carolina, but for us, we were like, what the fuck? This is fucking gnarly.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. So guess what we did? Guess what I did? I grabbed a big Confederate flag with a bass fish in the middle of it and just bought that shit. And everywhere we went, we were like, boom, people are like, I don't think those boys know what the fuck that's for. We're like, oh, we know.
Yeah.
This is, but that was way back, and I wouldn't do that now. We still have that flag though, by the way. It's somewhere it's in Jermaine's garage. Shout out my brother Karama.
That had to be the best times too of like seeing it now, being like seeing like all of the places you guys traveled and all the times you had, just like that. Probably seeing that now is probably like the coolest stuff ever.
Yeah, they just weren't expecting some
like,
Chicago
thinking
suburb boys to be, like that. But all right, so obviously growing up in North Carolina had to have been fun, especially like in those days. Hitch always like rants and raves about how it is, and the few times that I've been to North Carolina, the one thing that comes to mind immediately is the fact that it's a forest. It's like Kakariko Village. Like there's just foliage everywhere.
100%. Here it was so weird because flying into here, this is my first time ever like here in Texas ever. So like flying in, it sounds dumb, but I was like Texas is really flat. Like I knew it was flat, but I was like, meh. And after flying in here and like driving around, I was like, what the heck? I'm like, because back home it's trees, mountains, like beaches, like the coast, like it have both. And then here it's like it's super flower of like this is so weird, and it's just like it's just like a change of being like this is pretty cool. Like.
Yeah, I overheard you talking to Miles talking about you're thinking of moving to either Florida or here. Is that what I heard?
Kind of exploring some different kind of things. I think that being back home, it's kind of not that it matters a ton, but I just don't have like any friends there and stuff like that I know like in the scene, because gaming even now, I would say like North Carolina just isn't big for gaming, and that's why I didn't start playing until college. Like they didn't have like COD LAN events like in here, like California.
We went to Rally a couple of times.
Yeah.
Throughout the years.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like, but
I can show you a couple of championships from there. You know what I'm saying?
I like that. I like that. And like, but like, it wasn't a normal thing to like game and stream and all that until I would probably say until like COVID. Like a lot of people that I never thought would game and stream that kind of clowned on like me for streaming and stuff. Like you're playing video games, like that's dumb. Like but now everybody's like streams a game, which is freaking awesome. So it's like crazy to see how much it's changed since then, because it's just not like a big thing there.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, obviously, growing up somewhere and staying there the whole life, like that's the majority of people's lives, right? Like they stay there forever, and not a lot of people get the opportunity. Like I don't think that I would have ever moved from Schaumburg, Illinois, if I hadn't traveled and seen the world as much as I did. Because I would have just been stuck in my old ways, and I would have just been like, I don't want to move, right? Like my wife was like totally against that, right? Like at first, and it wasn't until we started exploring and moving and traveling that it allowed us to see the world, which is way bigger than what we thought the bubble was in.
Yeah.
Like even now today, where we are in the biggest, most beautiful bubble ever here in Frisco, Texas.
Yep.
we still talk about it. We're like, I don't think that we could ever move from this one, because this is actual home, right? Like even back then, like that was not home for us. Like I never considered it that. I just considered the place where we lived it. This feels like home.
I love that
because I feel like I own Frisco. You know what I'm saying? Like nowhere where I go, no restaurant that I go to, people don't say, "Hey, Hector."
That has got to be the coolest like feeling ever.
Yeah.
Feeling like I could stay here like forever.
Yeah.
And like raise like your kid here, like
Yeah.
and know like this is where like I'm want to like stay and be.
Yeah, you mentioned you having a speech impediment.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that until like I didn't know. I
Really?
didn't know. So did you train to get it to where you're at today? Because I don't like I can see it sometimes.
Yeah.
Like I notice it sometimes, but it's not. You know, like I wouldn't even consider that personally.
Yeah. Well, it's just been like a thing like my like entire life where it's kind of crazy to think, because obviously like for the longest time, like I even like now kind of too, like I hated like classroom speeches in college, doing like presentations. Like in college, that was like the entire thing, doing presentations all the time. And like even like seeing it now, I would have never seen myself talking in front of a camera for a living.
Thousands of people. Yeah.
There's literally no way. If like I told like me back then in high school, when like it was like a super thing then, in like college, I'd have been like, there's no way, you're crazy.
Yeah.
And it's just been like a thing where obviously it's still like a problem sometimes, but I've just learned like I can't change it, nothing I can do about it. So like being like trying to like hide it or not be me, like is pointless.
It's too much
you know
work.
what I'm saying? Exactly. So it's like, and like I say to like you or the stream, or I'm like, yo, it's a problem that sometimes happens, sometimes doesn't. If it does, I'm sorry. Can't control it, but it's been a thing since I was a kid. So
yeah. And has it always been like this, or was it worse like when you were younger?
I would say it was worse when I was younger, but now I'm getting like to the point of like kind of like accepting that it's a thing, and kind of just being like, it is what it is.
Yeah. That's good, man. That's cool. When you told me that, I was like, what the like? I noticed everything, right? I'm like, I noticed things, and this time I didn't.
Really?
Right? Yeah. When I met you at Starbucks, and you were like, you started a little bit in the beginning. I'm like, oh man. And then I that's when I did a little bit of research, right? Because I've known you as JoeWo, and that was never a thing. You know what I mean?
Really?
But I think that is very inspirational for people, right? That may have that same sort of a speech impediment or any sort of impediment, that if 100%. You give yourself a shot at something, people, especially nowadays, are more susceptible to be accepting of something like that, right? Like I think
100%.
that's very, very commendable of you to be open about it as well.
Yeah, and it's like, I've seen too of like, obviously like there's a ton of just like, and you see it too, just trolls on like every social media platform, YouTube, everywhere, that will still be like, guy can't even talk right, get it out, spit it out, like, but it's like, I just like see that as like, if that is what is like their biggest problem of the day, because I see the comments like, I can't even watch this guy, but like, all right, if that's like your biggest problem of the day is like my speech impediment, then like you're living like a good life if that's like a problem. So like those trolls and stuff, like it comes to a point of like, I just do something
that's mean, Joe.
Is it?
That's mean.
Like,
I'm gonna tell you why it's mean, and I love it. I'm gonna tell you why. Because when you're telling them, it's like, if this is the only thing that bothers you, you must be living a good life. But they're not. They're fucking miserable cunts.
Yeah,
These
it's just like,
man.
it's just, but it's like I've been through things like thing that I don't think is on. There's like my like dad like got stage 4 cancer when I was 12, and that was like, and he passed away, and going through that like random quick thing, and going through that, like that was like the lowest I've ever been in life, and probably the lowest I'll ever be in life. And I know from that happening, like my dad was like my best friend, like my everything, and like going through that it changed my entire perspective now of being like, that's how I see like trolly comments and stuff. If that is like your biggest problem, and I see like I can't even, if that's like the biggest problem somebody say, like that, count that as a blessing, to be honest, because I've seen like my dad was perfectly fine, healthy, worked on cars, motorcycles, all that, and then had like pain in his back, and he was like, this is weird, and they checked it up and had stage 4 cancer and passed away in 3 months. Wow. And it's like stuff like that is like count your days, because like every day is a blessing. So it's like not like holding yourself back because of a speech impediment or something, because you don't know what next week brings, next month brings. Just doing something that you love is just like, it's so key.
Giving yourself a chance, man. I live by that mantra. I've said throughout my career, if you don't give yourself a chance, nobody else is going to.
Exactly.
Like, you got to be your number one fan, which is why you'll never hear me say anything bad about me, especially in front of the camera.
Love that.
You know what I mean?
That's something that I got to take notes from, because I like say it, but like as like a joke kind of, but also like sometimes not. So like that's like a great thing too. And I say all the time when like I talk about like content and streaming and stuff, the biggest thing for me was those like trolley comments and stuff, they don't get like, because before I started the streaming thing, I knew I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to believe in me before anybody else does, before my family does, before my friends do, because if not, those people that hate, those will get to you, because you don't like believe it yourself first, and you have to believe it, and you got to say, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna put everything into it. And if not, and you have those doubts before you even start, you failed. If you say, well, I'm gonna try it, like it probably won't work, everybody does it, but like you already lost. Like and believing that I'm gonna do it, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna make it work. And believing that is how I just see content in life.
All right, so how did you get to that point, right? Like, were you watching streams? Who were you watching? Like, what did you know about the space before you decided to be a part of the space to eventually be a part of the space?
To be honest, like I it sounds dumb, but I didn't really watch a ton of streamers and stuff. So I kind of had a different approach to streaming, and I think like I saw it as a more of just like a college background too, of like taking like school classes and business and all that kind of stuff, of being like, even like now is like I think of running my stream as a business. Like everything is a business. I tell like all the time of like, if you are planning on streaming full time, it is a blessing, it is a hobby, it is all that, it's amazing, but you have to have the business mindset also of being like with sponsors and brands and all that kind of stuff, that you have to run it as a business, because it is. And I kind of had a background of that, of knowing of like the business side of it too, and just being like, I didn't really watch streams a ton, so I kind of just had like my own route and kind of how I did that.
That's good. Giving yourself a chance. So before that, you didn't watch any like streamers or anybody that you modeled yourself after? Like, were you entertained by the like what was that like?
So the start of like me seeing streamers was, I was playing Blackout Wagers, and one of the first people that I played like a lot was Formal, like all the time. And I didn't really know, to be honest, just because I didn't game and see like streamers and COD and all that kind of stuff, like who I was actually playing, like one of the greatest, if not the greatest Call of Duty players of all time, and Halo. Like, and I'd stream and people would be like, you're playing Formal. And I'd be like, oh, like, that's cool. Like, I don't really, and then like seeing later, like the process, the content being here is like crazy. Seeing that is like, wow, like that is insane. And that kind of like sparked like seeing streamers, seeing Formal all the time play, then Seth, and then Scum, and then seeing them play. I'm like, wait, this is the crazy space that opened up my entire like world to esports and gaming and COD, like just from like starting off in just one game.
Yeah, that's insane, because a lot, most people are usually like, yo, we've been watching you guys for like since I was 13. Like you come in and you're like, you know what, this is. So how did you even hear about streaming then? Like what was where did you find that possibility? Or like that idea that you could do that?
Yeah, so I started playing, and I kind of, it's like strange. I have tried to find it, but on my PlayStation 4, somebody told me on a PS4, like, yo, you're like really good, you should play Wagers. And I was like, huh? Like, what the heck is that? So I like checked into like Blackout Wagers and like Wagers and stuff like that, and I saw like people playing for like real money, like, and I was like, this is weird. And then from that, I saw like who was playing and like their like profiles, and then like Twitch and all that stuff. And I feel like I've definitely watched Twitch before COD, but I thought Twitch was like a more like not like a gaming platform, but like a podcast type of thing, because that's kind of like how I saw it like before, and I didn't even see the gaming side of it because I didn't game.
Mm-hmm.
So like I didn't ever see like the COD, the like Prime games at that time until really like I got 4.
Jesus Christ, that's good. A fresh pair of eyes is always welcome here in esports, right? And gaming entertainment, we need more people that haven't been infected by traditional do's and don'ts in esports to have something that they bring to the table and is new. Yep. So you started playing in Call of Duty. Did you play any video games before that? Like any shooters? Because the reason I'm asking is because the movement that you have now, right? Like 3 years, 4 years in, like a lot of people like need training for that. And here you are, like, moving your ass off.
So like a long time ago, like probably back in like high school and stuff, I played like some Madden 2K because I like love that, but I didn't ever get like into COD like a lot of people did, just because like I like played sports, so that was like my thing was like 2K and stuff. And then later in like college, it just wasn't like a fun thing to play that, because it wasn't like I had friends to play with back then where that was like our thing. So then like in college, everybody played COD, like that I heard of that game before. So I was like, I'll try this game. And it was cool. Like I knew about COD, but I didn't really ever grind it like the OG days of like the Prime, which stinks because everybody talks about now like the like Prime days and the best maps and the best guns and like Black Ops 3 and like all those guns. And I just like feel like I like missed out of that portion of like when people talk about like the best gun and like this gun like reminds them of this game and like stuff like that. It's super cool, but it stinks because like I didn't get to experience that
ever.
So it's kind of, but it's like it's crazy because now I like feel kind of bad, but I missed out on just like so many years of like some of the best times in gaming ever, of the best CODs and best stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, you did miss out on a lot of fun, a lot of history and culture, but it doesn't matter, right? Like, I mean, you're ingrained in it now, and you're here. $138,000 worth of cash prizes have gone into your hands. Obviously, that's not your only source of income. Obviously, as a gamer, if you guys don't know the gamer economics, obviously there's a lot to learn, right? Like you can make money in so many different ways.
Exactly.
That's to pinpoint one single one as the most important one. I mean, I guess you could, but it's a lot. So 138,000 just in earnings on Warzone. What was your biggest take home prize pool?
There was a FaZe tournament. I was last year, I think, and it was probably honestly the coolest. Before Scump won the solo Dolo tournament, it was the highest prize pool for a first place prize claim in the game, and it was I think valued at around $60,000 now. And they sent us a gold bar, like an actual real gold bar. And that was like the coolest prize probably ever. And it was super, super cool because usually like it was like either like sent to like our like bank accounts or PayPal or something, but I've never seen them have sent somebody a like engraved gold bar. So they said that was like the biggest prize before Scumps.
Do you still have that as a or did you melt it down and make some jewelry?
No, I put that thing straight in my safety deposit box at the bank. So it's just
dude, you gotta get then you have to get some like gold plated replica one so you can have it on display.
That would be cool.
Something that costs like maybe $2,500. I don't know how much gold plating costs, but it's something around there that can give you like something. It was the Atlanta FaZe Gold Rush tournament where you won $56,000. What the Scump thing? Why did you say it was different than this one? Or?
So before Scump's thing, because Scump won $100,000. Before that was the largest tournament payout prize for first place ever. So it's second now. Yeah. Behind the Scump.
Yeah.
Or behind Scump.
Got it. Okay, well that was good. I mean, the Scump one was really good, right? Who else is up there, man? Go on the right hand side and move up. I see Swag with 167,000. My brother Z-Laner won 167. Gotaga is still around fucking murdering shit at a number one spot from France. Optic Gotaga at one point, way back in the COD 4 days, $192,156.58. Do they rank them amongst the actual earnings from Call of Duty Pros? Because they've definitely passed up a bunch.
That's like the Warzone.
Yeah. So who's the number one? Huskers? No, that's 132. Oh, yeah. Top players.
It should be
No.
Tommy now, I think.
Tommy has. Yeah, you guys will know more. You guys, I mean, everybody keeps track of this thing. All right. Well, we'll wait for Matt to figure that out. It is such a good feeling to see this happening nowadays. Obviously, like in the beginning of all this, like we never expected something like that.
Yeah.
We hoped for it, but we never expected something like this to actually become a thing, or
Of
not
course.
this quickly. So to see people being able to not only make a living but make an excellent living off of a passion of theirs is super good. All right, so here we go.
Yeah.
So three.
Yep.
Oh my god. All right,
that's now. Yeah.
Yep. Right now, Tommy is sitting at the number one spot with $340,000. Aiden right behind him with $335,000. Huskers with $298,000. God damn, Huskers is nasty. Almond, Rated, Super Evan, Biffle, Noobs, Jukies, and FIFA Kill at $182 at the 10th spot. Like, Jesus.
And that's
Christ.
since the game came out 2019-ish, Maddie. But yeah. That's
2019. Okay, so Ian Porter here. Make that bigger a little bit, Matt, because I can see, but you know, Papa's got. All right, so Krim has 1.3, Clay 1.1. Congratulations to them, millionaires. Not easy. Alec, holy shit, with 1.1. Abizi with 1.1. Scump has only made $1 million in earnings. But the boy, you know what I'm saying, Matt? You know what I'm saying, Matt? Yeah, I mean, yeah,
but random. That's a really great point too. Is for people that are trying to get into gaming and esports. I think it helped me having like seeing it from like a business background. Is like I always saw it as being like my like I thought about it until it's like my Twitch sub count is my like pay, but now I see it differently of reaching out to brands, reaching out to sponsors, tournaments, and like. I think a lot of people don't see it of being like you can make really good pay if you really just take those extra steps. And that's why I say like even like vlogging for me, something I've never done before. I had no idea. Same thing for streaming. Before streaming, no idea. Just trying to take those steps to do something different can really like have those brands and sponsors and doors open if you just step and try something new. And I've seen a ton that the COD scene, nobody vlogs and just does like things like that off stream and just trying to do something new, I think can really just change kind of your branding for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back and we'll get into it. All right, Joe, well, give me a second while I say hello to the sponsors. This week we have Curology. And look, I can sit here and tell you every single time that from the beginning of time, I always took care of my skin. I always took care of my hair from the beginning. A lot of men don't do that. A lot of men are against taking care of it. They think it's too feminine. This is machismo stuff. And look, Mexicans invented machismo, so don't think that I'm talking smack. But it is very important, right, especially at a young age, to start taking care of yourself, taking care of your skin, taking care of yourself. The second that you wait too long, it might be a little bit too late. So prevention is the mother of good and happy skin, right? And right now, right, if you guys want ultra easy skin care that's actually made for your skin, Curology is the way to go. You'll get a custom prescription, a cream made for you specifically by a dermatology provider for your specific goals, whether that's tackling acne, clogged pores, skin texture, dark spots, fine lines, or something else. You start by taking a short online skin quiz, and if it's a good fit, they'll ship you your formula right to your door. Right, it's been about a year since I've been using Curology, so you can just take a look at it right there. I highly recommend it. Obviously, look at this skin glowing, pockets heavy, garage dumb, how silly. You know what I mean? But it starts with skin glowing. That's a fact. So, look, right now you can get started with Curology just like I did with a first free 30-day trial at Curology.com/HECZ. That is Curology.com/H3CZ. And all you have to do is pay for shipping. It's only $5 for shipping and handling. That's Curology, ogy.com/H3CC to start your first free 30-day trial, and you can cancel every single time. And the prescription is subject, obviously, to consultation, because it's easy, right? You get on the phone, you get online, you get on a chat, you give people a path of what you would like to fix or work on or make better, and then they'll start to ask you questions about your skin type, everything that does. How much time do you spend in the sun? Do you sunburn? Like, a bunch of different questions that applies to you and getting your perfect formula down for you. And the good thing about that is that if it progresses and if it gets better, then you can start asking more questions and telling them, like, hey, now that I've got this under control, what about this? And those are reformulating stuff for you to be good. But the link is in the description down below. Again, that's Curology.com/HECZ with a H3CZ. And the link will be in the description down below. Tell them that we sent you over there, man. Tell them. And enjoy it. And don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed. The last thing that you can do is to be ashamed. Tell me one thing. Are you going to be more embarrassed about the fact that you wash your face and then you apply lotion before you go to bed, or the fact that you're getting wrinkles at the age of 27? Like, what's more embarrassing? I mean, that's not embarrassing, but what's tougher? Which one would you prefer? I will always opt out to do the skincare and making sure that I'm looking good all the time. Upstart is the second sponsor of the podcast today, and certainly appreciate them coming back. Because the question at the end of the day, right? If you're about your paper, which we are here at the HECZ quarters, and on my circle, we care about our finances, right? And what we do if you didn't have high interest rate loans or credit card debt, right? Think about the freedom that you would have, not having to look at your bills that come in on a monthly basis. Like, let's say you get 7 of those bills, whether it's a credit card, student loan, whatever it is that you have, student loans, mortgage, whatever, like credit card debt, like all of those are problems that are common to a lot of people, most people, if you ask me. But what if you had the opportunity to say, instead of getting 7 bills and paying different interest rates in every single one, if you can consolidate all that into one loan and pay a lower interest rate that can help you get ahead, and you won't have the headaches of having to look at your account balance or having to look at whether or not you're able to make a bill payment, right? Because, through Upstart, you can pay off your existing debt quickly with a personal loan so you can tackle your next big financial goal. For many people, getting financially healthy means dropping the weight of credit card debt. But where do you start when it feels like it's a never-ending cycle? Right? Well, you start with Upstart. Upstart can help you pay off your existing debt quickly and easily with a personal loan so you can start living your life. If you have multiple credit card balances each month and are only paying the minimums, barely making any dents on your credit card debt, it can be discouraging. Upstart can help you pay off your existing debt quickly so you can feel like you're finally getting ahead. And Upstart knows that you're more than just your credit score. So rather than looking at your credit score alone, Upstart's model considers other factors like your income, your employment, how long you've been with your employer, other important information provided in your loan application to find you a smarter rate for your loan that's applicable to you. You can check your rate without impacting your credit score in just 5 minutes, depending on your connection, obviously, or how fast you read. Your loans can be between $1,000 to $50,000. You can even receive funds as fast as 1 business day after accepting your loan. Right now, you can find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/eavesdrop. That is upstart.com/EAVESDROP. The link will be in the description down below to make it super easy for you. But again, that's upstart.com/eavesdrop. Don't forget to use the URL to know that we sent you, so they know that it's the Eavesdrop, it's HECZ, it's Optic, it's Here You Are. And again, the loan amounts will be determined based on your credit score, income, and certain other information and criteria in your loan application. So go to upstart.com/eavesdrop and you'll be on your way to financial freedom. Super, super easy and quick. Talking about business and looking at this from that perspective, a lot of people in the beginning of all of this saw that as the evil thing because they expected that evil or that money corrupts and money sort of makes things uncool because but people have been playing games for such a long time that it's now becoming a little bit more acceptable. Jericho, Gold Glove, like those dudes, I don't know if you know who they are, but they're like old school machinima gamers who are like first adapters of the thing. Like they're still around. Yeah. Both of them actually, luckily, because they're really good. But for the most part, like in the beginning, it was bad, right? Like you couldn't get paid to do what you love because it was bad, right? Yeah. Like which is, and I saw that, and I'm like, well, that's silly. But to see it now, like obviously manifest into what it is today, where you can have not only just one source of income, but 7 or 8,
Yeah.
and that's not even including your investments, right? Like you
Mm-hmm.
you haven't, or I don't know if you have or whatever, but like there's steps to these things that you have to pay attention to, right? Like if you're in a position where you're about to see some money coming into your way, you have to take the time to say what happens when it gets here, right?
100%.
What's your approach from like what's the most exciting business side of this thing that you're passionate about?
I think for me, like, is like later seeing what I could do in gaming and try, because like I am like always like just thinking and planning, like my brain, it's I guess a good thing and a bad thing, but like my brain never like shuts off ever. Like I can never get unplugged, which I should definitely try some. But like if I'm streaming, I'm streaming. If I'm off stream, I'm thinking about, okay, what's going up on my main channel, second channel, third channel. Like what can I be doing different from everybody else? And I think that that's a good thing, is not ever being unplugged. And I think it's cool to just kind of brainstorm and plan for the future of like, what do I see that's not in gaming? And like, you can say that for anything, obviously, like, well, it's pretty much full now, but people say that for streaming of like, I can't start streaming because everybody streams. There's obviously always going to be something that's new that people haven't done. So just trying to kind of like see things. But my favorite thing, I think, is probably like brands seeing how many new companies are getting into gaming that like people would never like expect, like being sponsored by like Coke or whoever, brands and orgs being sponsored by humongous brands. Like it sounds so crazy, but like seeing those companies that are now switching from like normal like investments in doing like TV ads or newspapers, like they don't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Or they do, but like finding like who they are trying to target, and know that Twitch and YouTube and all that and TikTok is one of the biggest ways to target an audience, because most people, they know if their favorite streamer likes something and gasses something up, their fans are going to also go after that and reach for that.
Because the majority of I believe this, the majority of the people that do the influencer thing, I mean, especially in gaming, like they are very smart about their brand. They're very smart about the position that they're in. So they don't just back products just because there's money involved. Like they're very, very disciplined in what they pick to promote and what they say no to. The amount 100%. Of shit that we say no to on a daily basis is staggering in comparison to like all the other stuff that we do say yes to that makes more sense. Because there's out there. There's what I mean, especially now, like when you're getting into the Web3 metaverse, fucking all of the new stuff. Like that's when you really get into what's going on. So yesterday, I had a lady ask me what the best approach would be for her nephew who games and is really good. And the first thing that I always ask moms and dads and uncles and aunts to say, my nephew's really good at video games. I says, who says who? You know, who says that they're really good at video games? And then she's like, well, no, he is. And I'm like, how do you know? Do you play video games? Like, how the fuck do you know? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just like he's good. You don't even understand what it takes to be good in a game nowadays. It's not like Mario where there's like, and even then, he's not as good. He's not a time trial fucking guy that's good. Yeah. Right? So that's the first thing that I asked. And I'm like, look, the bottom line is that to get into gaming is very difficult, more difficult than ever because of the amount of people that are doing it. Matt, can you bring up the stats of the 3% of top streamers on Twitch and shit? You'll be surprised, I think, unless you've done the research already, but I was fucking mind blown.
I saw a TikTok from, I think this guy, I forget his name, and he does like stats on that. And I think that streaming and content creation was one of the hardest like things to do based on like who can do it full time.
All right, here you go. Ready? If you have an average of more than 6 viewers, you are in the top 6%. If you have 11 or more, puts you in the top 3.1%. If you have 51, I know. If you have 51 or more viewers, you're in the top 1% of Twitch streamers.
That's crazy. I did not know that.
That is how many people are fucking streaming. That is how many. So I sat there and I'm like, well, I'll tell you what. The best thing to do, if your nephew or whoever wants to be a gaming streamer, is to go build a brand outside of gaming and then bring gaming into that. So
I saw those stats too, and I think it comes down to also like how you were raised and like your morals. I saw that and saw that as a challenge. There's other people that see that and say,
discouraged.
Everybody does it. I'll try. But I saw that as I'm down. Like, let's do it. Like, I want that.
Oh yeah.
And like, I see that as also just being like a thing of being like, I want to do that, and that's like a challenge for me of like, if that's how like hard it is, I'm trying it and I'm doing it. And that's crazy because it can kind of see that as being like either like scares some away, or it can also drive some to be like,
I can do this. Yeah. It's the ego your amigo, right? Like if you have that self-confidence to believe in yourself, to give yourself a chance, sometimes you are rewarded, right? And look, if 50 or more, and people don't get this, right? Like how big was your classroom in high school, do you think?
Probably 30, 40.
Okay. How hard was it to speak in front of 40 people?
Oh my gosh, for me, I would hate it. Absolutely hate it.
Yeah. Right now imagine, right? Streaming in front or talking or making a speech in front of 10,000 people.
It blows my mind now. It literally blows my mind because I don't think about it like that until like I see the number and I'm like, wow, 5,000. Like if you put me in a room with 5,000 people, I would be a nervous wreck speaking in front of people. And I'm like, but it's like it's like the same thing, kind of. I mean, kind of, but it's like I would be a literal nervous wreck.
Yeah,
I couldn't, and it's like it's so crazy to think about.
Yeah. I think about that with all of everything that we've ever done, and I think I'm like my vlog usually gets 75 to 100,000 views on average, and I'm like that is 3 to 4, sometimes way more, right? That's 3 to 4 American Airlines centers filled.
That's crazy.
And it's 10-minute videos, so yeah, a couple of them do come back and finish watching it, but they're single viewers, right? And then I think I'm like, no shot in hell. That I would be able to. I mean, I'd like to give myself a chance to talk in front of that many people. I mean, I have in the past. The worst, the most fearful thing I've ever done, the most fear-filled thing that I've ever done was to speak at some ad convention somewhere in a room full of 100 ad executives that are not from the gaming industry and don't know the difference between Fortnite and Candy Crush. And my agent at the time took me out there to give a speech on esports. And I'm like, sure. Dude, I talk to fucking thousands of people all the time. And then I got there and I'm like, this is not my... I'm like, who knows what esports and gaming is? 10% of the people. I'm like, all right. Just wanted to see who we're with. And yeah, I killed it, obviously, right? But it was a little bit nerve-wracking, right? Because they don't get your charm. My jokes are only accepted by my people. Everybody else is like this fucking show-off, egotistical maniac, crazy
people. Well, it's like now, like even like trying to like explain content creation and streaming to even like family, because nobody in like my family gamed or streamed, or like friends that aren't like, so like my same like words that like I'd say like just like Gabe or stuff, like he's so cracked or like whatever, even like
you don't talk like that at
not in person
Thanksgiving dinner.
No,
Joe.
No, but like in like clips or like things that people see, like they don't understand like what do you mean by that, and like and then I take a step back and be like, they have no, like they are where I was in college. If somebody said that, I'm like, what are they saying? And like I have to take that step back and be like, wait a second, I'm trying to think of like in their shoes. I have to like tone it down. Like, oh, my bad. That's the game that I play. Like that's just a word that we use for being like a really good player. Like so, it's like it's crazy.
Yeah. No, it is. It's holy shit. That came out of nowhere. Apologies, Joe.
No,
holy fuck.
Hey, no worries at all.
That is where a lot of the confusion comes from, right? The not understanding. But if you say it's like, all right, it'd be like I'm recording myself playing a game of basketball and uploading, and people like it because I'm funny, right? Like explaining it that way, like people will be more susceptible to accepting because they know basketball and they know that it's recorded and it's on TV. But when you say it's like it's the same thing, but in video games, like it takes skill to move around and do stuff. Then you start to sort of break through that barrier.
I like say to like family and friends and stuff like that say like, why do people watch streaming and gamers? I'm like we are basically like, if you the kind of could say of like, we are basically like their favorite like show, like they're like the like main like guy in that show that responds back to them. So if they like a show, the best person that's in that show, if they like COD, they watch a streamer that plays their favorite game and they respond back to them. And it's the same thing of like, I think it's kind of like I don't watch shows at all now. I watch Twitch or YouTube. Like, I don't even watch, and I think that that's changing now for kids and stuff, of kids watch streamers and gamers and like YouTube videos and not like normal cartoons. Again, I could be crazy because I'm in the scene, but I feel like it's definitely changing how people are raised and like what they're watching and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, it's everybody's job to sort of maneuver, and from an educational standpoint, it's everybody who's a gamer and like to take the time and have patience in explaining this to everybody else, because that's how you're helping people understand it. And it's not that they necessarily disagree with the lifestyle that you're living playing games. It's just that they don't get it and they're fearful and they want the best for you, and that's the go.
No, like there was so many like friends of mine and family and stuff that when I took the step where, again, at the time that I went full-time streaming, I had the choice, which I was going to do, to, like I said, go take a trip, which I would have probably never streamed again. I can't pack up my streaming stuff and go fly it across who knows and do school. And like there's no way that, so that was like the end of the road for me in streaming for grad school. Or I could try to take a step and stream full-time, and family, and rightfully so, if they don't know, they would say, go to grad school, master's degree in finance. That is the road you should be taking, not a road of game, like, because they just didn't know, and that's completely fine. And I think that it's changing now, but I definitely see where they could have came from and being like, whoa, we're gonna try a gamer thing, like what are we doing, if they don't know, not the grad school route. Like, and I'm glad that I did and just took that step, because again, the thing that I see now is like, even if it failed, and I think that it comes down to me saying like, I'm going to do it. I don't know how. I'm going to make it work. I am going to choose to like believe in myself and going to do it. But I think it comes down to being like, if I didn't do it in 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, looking back, I would hate the feeling to think, I wish I would have tried. I wish I would have tried to stream. And if it failed, at least I know, hey, I gave my all and I tried. And I think that it comes down to me at that point. I was like, I'm going to try it for 1 year. I moved home and I said, Mom, listen, I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to work my butt off every single day and I'm going to try it. And if it fails, at least I tried. And I think that's the key of not having that feeling in 30 years, but like, if only I tried that. And yeah.
Dude, I live by that. Everything that I do because I don't want to ask myself, what if I would have done that? You know what I mean? What if I didn't? You know what I'm saying? Like that those sort of opportunities and stuff is the one thing that, and it applies to everything, right? Like if I wouldn't have tried to get Optic back, if I wouldn't have tried to, you know what I mean? Like I would have been like, what would have happened if I would have tried? What would have happened if I would have tried? You know, how far could I have gotten if I believed in myself again in doing something like we did? So you started streaming in 2018. In 2021, you joined the world famous NRG. How was that like in making your decisions to, in like teams and all that? Like how do you make that decision? So for influencers and streamers that are, you know, looking into this path, how do you make that decision? How do you make the decision to join a team and not just be a standalone streamer? Yeah,
so it came down to like, then I saw teams and I didn't really think about it until I like grew as a streamer. I always saw it as like the like big streamers join an org, and I always thought like, that would be the coolest thing ever, and it is freaking amazing. And I always saw that as like having a chance to do that would be so cool someday. And then as COD grew and our game grew to be one of the biggest games in the world, even now, those brands and orgs started to sign players and things like that. And I think that trying to find those teams that fit like your like path, I think is super, super important. And finding that, do you fit like with where they're trying to go to? And I think it's just super, super cool that there's still like orgs now that are still signing people and players and just basically not jumping the gun to just sign. I think I've seen people do that and then they sign a because like with orgs and stuff, like you're signing contracts, and a lot of people, when they get into the streaming, they don't think of the business side of it. Those are contracts. Like you're signing a contract for a year, 2 years, and like even though it is really cool. You have to take that step back and look at it from like, okay, how can this change my route for 2021, 2022, 2023, and your brand and how you plan for that time.
Very cool. You've been called the movement god in Warzone. Is there any level of practice that goes into I mean, obviously, right? But is it like something that you're constantly thinking about as far as like the movement? Do you play on tactical sprint? Like, what's your
kind of? I wouldn't say I like think about it a lot. It was kind of just being like a flashy player. I think just was like my thing of. I think it just looked really, really cool to just make players that you're fighting just look dumb, where they're looking at like you're sliding around them, you're like literally dancing on them. I saw those clips and was like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And like so then I practiced being like, I want to make people look silly, and those were like and then like seeing it like later of like having that like content for YouTube and people say like that looks crazy, and then seeing people support that and being like, I love how flashy like you are.
Yeah.
And I like that was like the coolest thing ever. I'm like, all right, well then I'm gonna make people look really, really dumb. So I would just like practice like just trying to dance around people, and it was just like so cool to just like see clips of like making people like turn around and be shooting and then be like, the guy's cheating. Like those are always the best death comms of like just making people look silly.
Yeah. So you've been caught. You've been accused of cheating for constantly, almost since the time that you started. Look, as a person that has just been accused of cheating.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Look, it came out. I hoped that no traditional media outlets picked it up because it's so embarrassing to at 42 years old be accused of cheating because of how good I am at a game.
Talented.
I don't know how I felt. I felt discouraged a little bit. Like I didn't take it as a compliment. That's for sure. You know what I mean? I didn't take it as a compliment.
Just talented.
But yeah. So how do you deal with that? Like how do you?
Yeah, the cheating thing. I say all the time. It really hurts Warzone to be honest, because and again like. I try to not be I try to always spread like a positive light and not be toxic, but at some point like it gets ridiculous that there's channels and people that support these channels that they have no they don't make content themselves. Their only content is our content, streamers' content, stealing that and being like, well, that clip looked kind of sus. Like I sit like so close to like my screen where like I'm like constantly like turning because I sit like inside of like the screen, and like people don't see that of like they're playing on a 55-inch on the couch just chilling, so they're like, where is he looking right now
with
like,
latency that they don't know about, like
exactly. And like they don't see it as being like, okay, like I see it as like a sports thing from like a sports background of like I don't see like Steph Curry being like Steph Curry has a magnet in a basketball and the NBA pays to rig, because like no Steph Curry just puts in more time than I do. And he's a better shooter than I am because he puts in the time, and is the greatest shooter of all time because he puts in the time in the gym every day. It's the same thing for gaming. If you put in that time and you grind your passion, you're going to be good. And I think that it comes down to like maybe like an ego thing of being like, there's no way people can be better than me at like gaming, but it's just like really hurts the scene because of those people that just steal other people's content, streamers' content, and just always accuse of cheating. And I bet you, I would love to see a poll of like, what is like, and see their gameplay of the people that are actually accusing people of cheating. What is their gameplay like? And breaking down that, because we know all of the pro players in Warzone and all that, you know instantly, like the pros when somebody's cheating, because we know what a good player looks like and what a good player doesn't look like.
And you more than likely know the players, right? Your opposition, your peers.
Exactly.
Right. So when you see a new name, you're like, eh.
And then see like clips and you're like, nah, that's weird. We know because we are talented players, like not in any like wait, we're better than everybody else. No, but like we know what good looks like. And when I have a feeling all those channels and people that are like they're cheating, they don't know what good actually looks like. So they think when somebody's better than them, they're just cheating, and they're just stealing that content and making and just sending hate to somebody else. I don't know. It's just like the most like bizarre thing to me, because it's like it comes down to they don't have their own content, they don't make their own content, they just steal it, and it's like the most annoying thing ever.
Don't get me fucking started on the fucking parasites. I literally fucking get so angry, right? Like whatever. I don't even want to waste any time on that. You have a twin sister?
Yep.
Right. So it's I don't know why it's on there, and I don't know why I looked over. How many siblings do you have?
I have one twin sister and then one half sister and one half brother. Yep. So my twin sister, she's freaking awesome. She's the brains and the looks. She got a full ride to Chapel Hill. So she's super, super smart. She was the valedictorian of our high school, and our graduating class was like over 400. She's super, super smart, full ride. She's the bomb, and she's freaking great.
Shout out to her. Any closing comments? I mean, obviously, all your information is going to be in the description below, so people can find you. Any closing comments? Any words of wisdom that you want to impart upon the audience of the Eavesdrop podcast?
Closing comments. Optic, HECZ. Thank you guys, for real. Thank you guys so much. They had me out here for a week.
Let me ask you something. No, I'm going to interrupt you. This dude, right? About fucking 6 months ago or 2 months ago, last time you were supposed to be in Texas, you said, yo, can we have a setup at the HECZ quarters? And we said, yeah, of course, right? And then this last time around, and I started getting tagged on it when you were like, hey, if anybody knows anybody in fucking Frisco or Dallas that can fucking, I'm like, don't no one respond to this guy. No one responds to it. Like, I had Andrew Ice like hit me up and say, yo, tell JoeWo that he can stream. I'm like, no, because one, he has my fucking phone number. Two, he has Hitch's fucking phone number. Three, he can literally just ask, what happened? What's up?
I just like
you needed interactions.
No. I felt bad because I knew that the COD major was coming up, so I felt bad. Like I thought like it'd be like super like nobody's here, like we're like, and like obviously scrimmage stuff. So I was like, I'm not trying to be here while I scrimmage, obviously because I'm practicing. But I just felt bad because like I don't want to like be a bother, so I was like, I don't want to like text them because I know they're busy. But for real though, like thank you guys. Like seriously, you get like I'm not even kidding. Like you guys have been like it's been like home, like hospitality, unbelievable. Maddie, Roger, everybody, like it. Thank you. Like seriously,
welcome,
I cannot say that enough. Stress it enough.
I was like, I'm not replying to this shit. I'm not replying to this shit. And the other thing is like it just happened to me, right? Like I'm looking to build a website, and I was talking to Skylar, Foreplay about it, and I just never got around to it. And that's the way that I work and I operate, and that is what it is. I'm not changing. But I tweeted out, I'm like, yo, anybody that, and people were tagging Paper Crowns on it. Yeah. And Skylar's like, I'm not fucking replying to this fucking dude. Like, I already fucking told him, you know what I mean? Still haven't picked what I'm doing, but regardless of that, I was like, I'm not like, Matt, don't no one reply to Joe, even if you're tagged by people. Don't reply. Like, he can ask.
I just felt bad, man. But now it's seriously like
I'm like, hey, please, you know what I mean?
No, it's seriously like this was like my like first time here in Texas, and I had the best experience. I mean, I still have obviously 6 more days, but like first time here, best experience with the best people. First time on a podcast with the freaking GOAT. So it's truly a blessing. Thank you.
And you are going to be at the major this weekend?
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. Cool. So people can find you there. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys enjoy the podcast, please leave a like. Check out all his information in the description down below. Shout out to Curology Ups, of course, for sponsoring the podcast. And we'll see you guys on the next one for episode 126 with Nick Maniac Kirshner. We'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.